Okay, so hi everyone, welcome to the fall information session for the Applied Geosciences program here at Penn. My name is Dr. Siobhan Whadcoat, I'm the program director. It's great to have you joining us this evening. I have a short presentation here that I'll run through, telling you a little bit more about our program, but I'd love to hear your questions. So at any point through the session, if you have a question, feel free to drop it in the Q&A box. If you would rather ask your question verbally, just raise your hand and I can unmute you and allow you to kind of talk and ask your question that way. But I'd love this to be interactive. So if you do have questions as we go through them, please feel free to ask those as I'm going. So the Applied Geosciences program has been at Penn for 20 years. We're actually celebrating our 20th anniversary this coming year, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. So 20 years of geoscience education here at Penn, and from that, a really strong alumni network that you would get to then connect with and be a part of if you choose to be a part of our program. Our program has three primary focus areas: environmental geology, engineering geology, and hydrogeology. And I'll talk a little bit more about those in a moment when we get into details of our curriculum. We are physically housed in the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences, and the picture that you see on here is a picture of Hayden Hall, which is our building here on Penn's campus. Now, this is an online program, so you won't be having classes physically in that building, but that's where we are, and this represents our academic home here at Penn, and we're well connected with the faculty in the department. In addition to being academically in Earth and Environmental Sciences, we are administratively part of the College of Liberal and Professional Studies. And this is because we are a professional master's program. Again, we'll touch on that in just a moment. But if you apply to our program, you will be applying through the College of Liberal and Professional Studies, often called LPS. But you will also be part of the Department of Earth and Environmental Sciences. So just to explain a little bit about how those two work. We used to be an in-person program here at Penn, and we did have classes in this building pictured here. And we became a fully online program back in the fall of 2022. And this was largely in response to what we were seeing within the industries that we work with, in terms of industries our students are coming from and going to, and often staying a part of while they're taking our degree program. We saw that more and more people wanted to come and get their degree while also working part-time, or for some people while working full-time. And they wanted to be able to do that in a way that they could fit around their work. We also saw a lot of demand for people maybe not needing a full master's degree, but a few courses, whether they're going for their PG or PE or looking to move up at work. And so we made this move back in 2022 to become more flexible as an online program with these different aspects to our program, the full degree, certificates, and course taking options, in order to better serve the population of applicants that we're trying to reach, which includes those of you on this call here this evening. And so we currently have 26 students in the program. 22 of those are enrolled in the full Master of Science in Applied Geosciences degree. 3 of them are certificate students and 1 is a course taker. And again, we'll get into the details of each of those a little later in the presentation. Just so you know who the program staff are, if you are reaching out and emailing, it's always nice to know the face behind the email. As I mentioned, I'm the program director. Eric Barata is our administrative director, and Ross Marotta, our administrative coordinator. And so you may receive emails from either of those as you're going through the application process. And then we have 2 academic advisors, Tony Sauder and Mitch Cron. You may encounter them through the application process. They would be the ones that would be reviewing your application, potentially inviting you to interview. If you reached out to us, and I'll explain this at the end, to request a one-on-one meeting to talk about the program, it may be with Tony or Mitch. They've both been with the program for a number of years. Tony's actually been with the program since it came over to Penn back in the early 2000s. Mitch was one of the graduates of the program in its early days, and now works as part of our staff team. They both teach in the program and both advise the students as well. And when you come into our program, you have an academic advisor that will stay with you throughout your time in the degree program, help you with course planning, and many other things. And so it'll be one of these 2 guys here. As I mentioned, we are a professional program. And this means that we're focused on providing the skills and the knowledge that you need to get you into the workplace or maybe obtain a promotion or make a career shift in your desired profession. Many of the students in our program are already working and they're looking to make a shift or climb the ladder, or as I said, maybe get some professional licensure. And so we really focus on providing the skills and knowledge that they need to get there. As such, we connect you with industry professionals and experienced practitioners from day one. So on the right here are some images of some of the instructors in our program. And most of these people, if not all of them, work outside of academia as well as their work within the academic world. They are experienced practitioners, they're experts in their fields, and they bring that expertise into the classroom. And so you're connecting with those people from day one as you go through the program. We do have a small number of students that do also go on to a PhD, so I don't want you to feel like because we're a professional program that academic pathway is not possible. It definitely is, and we do have a handful of students who do come through our degree program and go on to get a PhD, either immediately after the program or often a few years later. So a few thoughts about why you might want to study online with us here at UPenn. So I mentioned already the flexibility to complete courses while you're working, and this really is a big selling point for many of our students. They want the flexibility to complete their coursework around their other obligations, particularly to a full-time job. And so our courses are delivered asynchronously through a platform called Canvas. Some of you may be familiar with this from other degree programs you've been in. The screenshot on the right is one of our courses, and it's the Canvas site that it's housed in. And so, as I mentioned, the courses are asynchronous. There's material that's put up each week for you to work through, lectures for you to watch, readings to do, assignments to work on, discussions to engage in. And so while it's asynchronous, our courses are not self-paced, meaning that there are deadlines each week that you need to meet. But whether you do that work in your lunch break, after work, on your weekends is totally up to you. There are also optional live office hours with the instructors every week. So even though their material is being delivered asynchronously, we can see a screenshot here of one of our instructors, Michelle, delivering part of her course on water resources. Those instructors do also offer the option to meet with them face to face, kind of via Zoom or something, at least once a week. So you're not completely disconnected from your instructor, and I do really encourage you, if you become part of the program, to take advantage of those opportunities. You're assigned an academic advisor that will guide you through the degree or the certificate if you're in one of our certificates. And you saw those images earlier of Tony and Mitch, who would be your academic advisors. And so there's no requirement for you to come to campus. You can complete this degree completely remotely, but we do offer a few options for you to come. We do have summer field courses, and of course those have an in-person component. Towards the end of your time in the degree program, we have a graduate research conference where our students who are graduating present their capstone research. And so you would be asked to come and present at that if it was possible for you to come to campus. Again, you don't have to, but the option is there. You're also welcome to come to that in other years if you're not too far from Philly to see what other students have been doing. And of course, you can come to graduation. In addition to this, I do say to our students, hey, if you're ever in town, if you're nearby and you want to stop by the office, we'd love to see you. We have a monthly coffee hour with some of our students in our in-person program. Please join us for those kind of things. So no requirements, no obligation to come to campus, but you're more than welcome, and there are certain times throughout the year that we have specific events we'll invite you to. I mentioned, I think at the beginning, that we are celebrating 20 years of the Applied Geosciences program being here at Penn. It's gone through a lot of changes in those years, from a single master's degree in person to a fully online program with different tracks that I'll talk about in a minute. And we're planning a few events over the next year to sort of celebrate those 20 years here at Penn since the start of the fall in 2005. And so if you do join the program next year, you'll be joining us in time for some of these celebrations and to take part in that. Okay, I'm now going to talk about the program pathways itself and some of the curriculum, but I just want to take a moment to pause and see if there are any questions before I get into that. Okay, it doesn't look like there are any questions at the moment, but do feel free to drop them in the Q&A box if they come up as I'm talking. So we do have, as shown on the left here, our full master's degree in applied geosciences. We also now offer two different graduate certificates, and there's the option to take individual courses with us. So what might that look like? Let's start by looking at the full master's degree. So for the full master's degree, which the acronym for that is MSAG, that requires 12 course units and one project design or capstone thesis. Those 12 course units are broken down into 8 required and 4 elective courses. The 8 required courses, which are listed on the right here, allow you to really deepen your knowledge in core applied geoscience topics. It also includes a course called Project Design, which helps you to develop your research ideas and prepare your proposal for your capstone, which we'll talk about in a moment. So you can see the list of required courses on the right there. They're also listed on our website. So in addition, you then get to choose 4 electives, and this allows you to kind of choose an area to develop specific expertise. I mentioned at the beginning that our program focuses on environmental geology, hydrogeology, and engineering geology. And you can see that reflected both in our required courses as listed here, but also in the electives. And so, for example, if you were really focused on engineering geology, you might take our advanced engineering geo course, you might take our landslides course, maybe you take one of our field courses, something like that, to really focus in on that area of expertise. And so these are the range of elective courses that we currently have in the program. If you don't have a field course already from your undergraduate, you are strongly encouraged to take a field course as you're an elective. It's not a requirement, but we do strongly encourage that, especially if you are hoping to go for your professional licensure at some point. And then in addition to these 12 courses, everyone has to complete a project design or capstone thesis. And this is an applied research project to highlight different skills and knowledge that you've gained throughout the program and throughout your career. As I mentioned, you take a course to work on designing that project, and we really help you consider your career goals in designing it. You know, for example, if you're hoping to make a shift at work and wanting to develop a particular technical skill to get into a different maybe team in your office, maybe you can design a project that allows you to showcase that skill. We always say that we want our students to be able to use these projects when they're sat in a job interview, for example, and giving examples of their expertise in a given area. We want them to be able to fall back on this project. You can work with our academic advising team as your advisors on that project. You can also work with a current or potential employer. And we often have projects where students are working with an employer and an academic advisor together. And as I mentioned, applied projects are preferred over theoretical, though you can do a more theoretical project as well if you prefer. So that's the MSAG curriculum, the full degree. Perhaps you're not interested in the full master's degree, or you're not sure if you are yet, and you might be thinking about one of our graduate certificates. So our graduate certificates are 4 course certificates in engineering geology and then another in environmental hydrogeology. And for each of those certificates, the courses that count towards those certificates are listed here. So you choose 4 of the 6 that are listed for each certificate. If you decide as you're going through the certificate or when you've finished that you would like to actually pursue the full degree, then all 4 courses from the certificate can be transferred into the full MSAG degree. And then finally, perhaps neither of those options are for you, but you're interested in developing expertise in a specific area, you need an extra course for your professional licensure or for something you're doing at work, you can come and take a single course with us. You can enroll in any of the courses within the MSAG program that were listed on previous slides. You can enroll in up to 3 courses per semester and up to a maximum of 4 courses total. If you hit that 4 courses total and you wish to go further, you would then need to enroll either in our certificate or full degree program. If you do complete 4 courses this way, all of those can be transferred into the full MSAG degree, and up to 2 course units can be transferred into one of our certificates. So alongside the academic side of the program, as I mentioned, we're a professional programmer, so we're very invested in your professional development. There are a number of ways that happens. A few examples are listed here. So we have field courses in the summer. One of those is Field Methods in Geology, and that is approved by the state of Pennsylvania to qualify for the Fundamentals of Geology exam. So if that's something you're interested in taking, our field course would qualify you for that. The image on the right here is one of our instructors, Mitch Cron, teaching on that field course. We also have a great alumni network, and we connect you with that network through a private LinkedIn group that allows you to connect with alumni from the program over the last 20 years. A great way to network, particularly if you're looking to make a shift in your career or apply for a new position. We also encourage students to join the student chapter of AEG, the Association for Environmental and Engineering Geologists. They have a lot of things going on throughout the year. We try and go to their conference every year. They also provide a lot of funding for students as well that you can tap into. And then there's options to connect with centres and with academics here at Penn. Although you're not here in person, there are organisations at Penn, such as the Water Centre, that offer research, internship, conference opportunities. Some of those are in person, and so you'd have to be close to Philadelphia, but there are also a lot of opportunities that they offer online. And so if, for example, you were more interested in hydrology or kind of engineering geology, you may want to check that out. And there are a few other opportunities like that at Penn, and opportunities as well to connect with the faculty in our department. Finally, we have a monthly Lunch and Learn series. We have an online webinar once a month where we bring in an outside speaker who talks about something that they are doing either at work, something they're doing in their research, maybe a new tool they've discovered. They present that, there's an opportunity for Q&A with them, and then there's some kind of social time in the program. And we're always looking to add to this list as well, and often students will bring us ideas for that, which we really appreciate. And so although many of our students in the program are already in a professional career, we do our best to support you in any career shift you might want to be making. Or new jobs you might be looking for via connections that we have with industry, with alumni. And we send out a weekly newsletter as well that includes any internship or job opportunities that come across our desk. In addition, as online students, you are able to tap into Penn's career services, and they have services specifically for master's students. So if you do decide to join the program, I definitely recommend you check them out. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there's opportunities to connect some kind of research or internship experience potentially to your capstone, your project design thesis. And that's also another way that some of our students have connected with industry professionals that they may want to work with one day. On the right there is a list of places that our students over the last few years have gone on to work. This is by no means a exhaustive list, but a good sampling of the types of environments that they're working in. And so if you do decide to apply to our program, which I really hope you do, all the details can be found on our website under the application deadlines and requirements page. The deadline for applying to start in the spring term is December 1st. So if you wanted to start with us in January, either in the full degree, certificate or course taker, you need to apply by December 1st. You'll hear within 3 weeks of the deadline if you've been invited to interview. If you apply before the deadline, we do try and look at your application sooner. So you should hear from us pretty quickly. And then if you are invited to an interview, the final decision is typically released within a week or two of that interview. And so now I'll turn it over to you for any questions. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me sharing this evening. I will say, just before I turn it over to you for questions, if you do have questions, if you want to contact our team after this session, or if you're watching this on our website and you want to reach out, here is the email address to contact our team. If you send that, that will come to myself, Eric, and Ross, the administrative team, and we will address that for you. You can also email us there if you would like to meet one-on-one with either myself or one of the advisors on our team to talk more about the degree program, or if you'd like to meet with a current student. So do please get in touch with us that way if we can help at all. Again, details for applications are on our website. We have an Instagram account that we've kicked off recently, which you're welcome to follow if you'd like to see what we're up to. But thank you again for coming, and I'll turn it over to questions now.